Okay, so quick review. First homily, we were at the camp, Zion Retreat Center, and 3 words. Okay, and we have been looking throughout this week to be Emmanuel, Tabernacle, and Fiat. Then we had our second Mass, which was our first night at the where we're at now.
Fresh Air.
What?
Fresh Air Farm.
Fresh Air Farms. I'm not good with names of people and of locations. We were at Fresh Air Farms, and I preached about the need to forgive as God forgives. That we need to look at the people in our lives that have hurt us, and we need to forgive. Because God says that we're supposed to forgive not just 7 times, but 7 times, 7 times. Last night we talked about how the law is the foundation of charity. How God's law is actually really, really good. We can't really love until we first actually live as human beings. And the law is how human beings can live civilly with each other. They can't thrive, but at least how they can live civilly. If people don't kill each other, have sex with each other's wives, steal from each other, rob from each other, lie from each other. And then charity is on top of that. So tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about how we can actually do this and a key to doing all of this. We live in a world where we're very much driven by our passions and by our feelings, which is totally normal. It's not like things have changed. People have always been. I don't like to be the doomsday guy who's always like, oh my gosh, the world is so terrible now and it was so good like 50 years ago. No, it was terrible then as well. But a lot of people think that we have to act on our feelings. And it's really just not true. Our feelings actually come from our thoughts. And most people think that our feelings are just what we have, but it's really not true. Feelings come from your thoughts. I have a thought, and then my thoughts actually create my feelings. And my feelings actually turn to actions. So one first has thoughts. Those thoughts then are transformed into feelings. And then those feelings are then transformed into action. So what's first?
Thoughts.
What's second? What's third? Thoughts, feelings, actions. Most people operate from the sense of well, I have a feeling, so then now that's my thought, and that's going to determine my action. We have it backwards. It's not feeling, thought, action. It's actually thought, feeling, action. But we often confuse the first 2 steps. Personal testimony. Now, I know that when I talk about myself, people are often like, Father Meyer is a priest, and he coaches cross-country and track, and he ran cross-country and track in high school and in college, and he was a big athlete, and he went to state in cross-country, and he had a girlfriend named Stephanie Brown, and he was going to marry her, and he wore a white tuxedo to prom, and he was really awesome, and he was a great dancer, and that was Father Meyer's life. I want to make it very, very clear that that is not the case. That's what I tell everybody because I want to be loved. But I was no different than all of you. That I looked around my high school and felt that I was a total outsider. I had friends, but my friends weren't really friends. In fact, when I was in college, what ended my running career was a knee injury. And within weeks after my knee injury, my whole cross-country team walked away from me. Because they weren't friends, they were teammates. Thanks be to God that that's like at that moment that I had my conversion. I started going to a men's Bible study and a men's prayer group every single week. And they became my friends. Some of you might hear me, I talk about Mike Auger. Mike Auger was my best friend in high school. Mike Auger was the pitcher on the baseball team. That's one of the things I always throw in because then it makes me feel really cool and seem really cool. For those of you who know the story of Mike Auger and Mike Auger and I went to 2 different colleges. I made a decision not to drink at all my sophomore year in high school until I was 21 years old. Mike had made that same decision as well. He went to one university, I went to another. He started drinking, and it killed our relationship, and I lost my best friend. I would walk into a room of strangers, and I would be terrified, just like all of you are. There were times where I hated being a teenager. My parents moved the summer between my sophomore and junior year. When I arrived in Indianapolis after living in Waukesha, Wisconsin, I knew for a fact that I was going to walk into a high school and no one knew who I was, and I had a brand new opportunity to recreate who I was going to be, and then I could be whoever I wanted to be because nobody knew my past, nobody knew who I was, but I was mortified. And so I found a group of friends who were mainly cross-country runners. We would watch the worst horror films in the world on Friday nights. That's what we did. We were total dorks. By the time I graduated, I did have some friends that were in the in crowd. I can brag that I only have 2 friends from high school anymore. That's it. I moved away and whatever. Once again, I'm making an excuse for it because I want you to think that I'm cool. So then the question has to be so then Father Meyer, why is it you can walk into a parish and know nobody and do what you do, and why is it that it seems like you have? Because at some point in your life you realize that I can't be controlled by my feelings. My feelings are not truth. My feelings say I don't fit in. My feelings say I'm not as good as the person next to me. My feelings say I don't measure up. My feelings say they're better than me, they're richer than me, they have better skills than me, and that's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's not true. We as Roman Catholics proclaim that we're pro-life, right? We believe that that every human person should be treated with dignity and respect from the moment of conception to natural death. We hate abortion. Tonight, a large group of our parish is at the premiere of the movie Unplanned that is coming out tonight. And I hope that you go out and see it. I really, really do. Bring your friends, because it's going to be an amazing film. We say we're pro-life. We say that we're pro-life, but then we don't believe about ourselves. Because I feel when I walk in the room, I don't know anybody. I feel when I walk in a room that I'm inferior. I feel when I walk in a room that other people are more powerful, more beautiful. But that's a lie. So at some point in my life, I realized that I can't live my life by my feelings. I need to live my life by my thoughts. So what are my thoughts? Well, my thoughts were that I'm stupid, that I'm dumb, that I'm second rate, that I'm not a football player, I'm not a basketball player. My thoughts were, I'm a kid who likes my faith, so that makes me weird. But those aren't God's thoughts. So what are God's thoughts? You're a unique child of God. You have tremendous gifts to offer people. You were made in my image and likeness to change the world. That the relationships that you have can change people's lives. That you have something worth to add to the conversation. Like, you all know that I'm dumb, right? I mean, like, it is true. Like, I really am not, like, not smart. Like, it's a whole other homily. Like, I'm not smart. Like, people think that I'm smart. Like, I'm really not. Like, I fake it really, really good. Like, Luke and I had a conversation today about I cheat my whole life through. It's totally true. Like, today, I'm like, how old am I? I'm 42 years old. I go to meetings with, like, bishops and archbishops, and I sit on these councils. Like, I'm dumb. And, like, I have to, like, sit there, like, I'm the president of the priest council of the Archdiocese of Minneapolis. Like, I don't know if you know what that means. Really nothing. But I sit at those meetings and all these brother priests are talking and I'm sitting there interiorly. What's my feeling? I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add. These guys know everything and I know nothing. And who's running the meeting? This guy. So at that moment, what do I have to realize? I need to change my thoughts. Because my thoughts will change my feelings, and my feelings will ultimately determine my actions. When I was a newly ordained priest and I had to like get up and give homilies all the time, like I kid you not, like I used to like practice my homilies for hours. Because I was terrified. Until I got to a point where I can't live in fear. Like, what's the true thought? It's God's homily, it's God's people, it's God's message, it's not mine. My feelings are not true because my thoughts are not true. So I need to change my thoughts, which will then change my feelings, which will change my actions. A lot of you are you all are unbelievably beautiful and wonderful and amazing young people. And I get it. I totally get it. You don't feel like you fit in. You don't feel that you're being validated. You don't feel like you have anything to say. And it's all a lie. And the truth is that you do, and you're good, and you can change the world. It's truly, I'm a living testament to it. And it's not because I'm dumb. My SAT scores hang up on my wall as a living testament to the fact that it's not because but at one point in my life I'm not going to be dominated by my feelings. And I'm going to walk in the room and I'm going to say something. I'm going to walk into the room, believe that I have something to say. I'm going to walk in the room and say you want what? Father Myers here. Let's go. If you allow your life to be dominated by your feelings, then your life will only be the feeling that you will live by is by your feelings. If you think that really successful people in this world just have really good feelings that they've acted upon, you're totally wrong. Successful people in this world get a thought in their mind that this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to accomplish, and they're willing to then align themselves towards their thoughts. And the basic thought that we have as Christians is that I am created good, I am made in God's image and likeness, I am sacred, I am worthy, and that's the truth. Today our gospel passage is about the devil. What are some other names that we have for the devil? Beelzebul? Beelzebul? What? Satan? Lucifer? By the way, real quick, we talk about Lucifer real quick, because it's a great name. Do you know what Lucifer means? What? Light bearer. Do you know what we call the person who carries the thurible down the aisle? A fur. Do we even call the person who carries the cross down the aisle? Not crucifer, crucifer, because the Latin word for cross is crux. So it's crucifer. Thurible is thurifer. Do you want to know what you call the person who carries the candle down the aisle? Lucifer. Because who was Satan? Satan was an angel. So his name was light bearer. So whenever you carry a candle or a torch at Mass, just know what your name is. Okay. Satan, Beelzebul, Lucifer, what else do we have? Diabolo. Good. The devil. Diabolical, which means to separate. The evil one. Come on. The deceiver, which is close to the one that I'm looking for. You're right there. But we normally put a title before liar. He's normally known as the Prince of Lies. The Prince of Lies. And I'm just going to tell you that Beelzebul has convinced a lot of us to listen to lies, which then determine, so our thoughts determine our feelings determine our actions. So a lot of you, myself included, have thoughts that just aren't true. And we allow ourselves to live by those thoughts. Every single one of you, and I mean this, like, you might not always feel it, you might not always believe it. I know that my altar servers all think that, like, I worship Matthew Keeble. Like, it's not really true. Do you have any idea how proud I am of all of you? Like, and I mean that. Like, what you are doing with your life right now is amazing. That's the truth. And yet we live by these lies, and then we allow these lies to determine our feelings. I'm not liked, I'm not loved, I don't fit in, I'm not one of the in crowd, I can't amount to so. And it's not of God. And so I really want to challenge you to really ask yourself, what are my thoughts about who I am? And how do those thoughts affect my feelings? Because I'll tell you the days where I have said, you want to know what? No, John, you are good and you do have something to say and you can be a good priest and you can be a good preacher and you can change people's lives. Those thoughts then do to change my feelings. And I do feel that I can do something and then I act upon it. And those actions change people's lives. And I often ask myself the question, so what if I didn't do what I did? What if I never came to the point where I said, no, John, you can be a priest. You can do this. How many lives would have been touched? I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, would any of you be here right now? Our thoughts change our feelings, and our feelings change our actions. When you have days when you feel terrible, ask yourself what your thoughts are, and you're going to find a lie. A really big lie. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning because you feel bad, or you feel lazy, or you feel like you got to change your thoughts about who you are and what your plan is for the day. Allow your thoughts to change your feelings, and your feelings to change your actions and change the world. So St. Vincent de Paul did, whose patronage we're under today at this beautiful church. Let's pray that our thoughts about Jesus in the Eucharist will change our feelings about Jesus in the Eucharist, which will then change our actions about Jesus in the Eucharist. So as we enter deeply into this Mass, let's have it change us in profound ways. Amen?
Amen.